Welcome to the Life of Hair. My name's James Atkinson. Thank you very much for choosing to join into this week's episode. Now, in this week's episode, we're going to look at some fantastic hair transformations, many of which I haven't seen at all. So you'll be watching them with me, but I give my personal opinion and critique, and everything is neutral. It's only for the better of the hair community and anybody who's interested in the hair, so please don't be offended. The creator of this video was Beauty Place New. I did a video recently looking at their other compilation videos. I really like what they make, so if you're interested in this type of thing without my critique, please go and check them out. Lots and lots of hair here. Cricky, she's got a lot of hair. Don't tell me she's going to chop it all off. Whoa, big chop. I hope she's donating that hair to one of the charities that make wigs for children. Going in, lots of bleach going on. Very important to apply a lot of bleach. That is a big, chunky face frame, which is very, very now. I don't know if you've seen the what was the money piece. It was very subtle. It's become very, very extreme around that front hairline. Big, chunky, bold. And also seeing kind of this hair blocking thing happening in the Alice band area, like a very thick block of colour has become a bit of a trend as well. If you haven't seen that already, keep your eye out for it. Going in with the toner now, and then looking to do some smudging at the root potentially, even shorter in terms of the length. Again, I've said this many, many times, you've got to be very careful when you're cutting shorter hair on younger girls, not to make them look older. But actually, as far as the end result goes, I really love the band of colour around the front. It makes it look very young, very fresh, and I like the fact that it's kind of more one length with a little texture in it. Again, that makes it look and feel young. They've tucked it. Obviously, she's not going to wear it like that all the time, I appreciate, but you know, in this particular instance, I really, really love this end result. It's fantastic. I love that heavy colour around the front. It's not for everyone, clearly, but yeah, like and subscribe. That's not mine, but you know. Wow, a lot of curly hair here. Very, very orangey on the ends. Very indicative of very dark hair types, especially if they've been coloured and you bleach them. You can see they've done a little test patch in the hair there. Using hairspray there to control the tease as well. I've seen that a lot from these guys. You know, to make sure that the tease stays back at the root area. Great thing to do. Obviously, might need an assistant to do it in the way they do it, but you could spray it on your section, then tease yourself. Not everybody's got someone there standing there spraying hairspray for you. They always use lots of toners in these videos. I always think that's kind of a lot. They kind of made it ash and then they made it warm, which was a bit strange, but a beautiful, stunning end result, in my opinion. That I just love that. They look like they've used a tiny little wand to create that curl. I don't think that's natural for anybody that would hope that they've got their hair so beautifully curly. I'm not entirely sure that has been done with a diffuser and some curl cream. But what a fantastic result. She looks amazing. I never understand the multiple toner processes in these videos, though. I guess they're selling their boss's hair colour, which is fair enough. So lots and lots of hair again. Lots of lips in this video. The first thing I saw was lips. I've said that before. Maybe I've got a thing for big lips, I don't know. But I always see lips in videos. Again, with the tease, lots of product. You know, these guys always do exactly the same thing. I think all of the videos we've seen is from, I'm going to murder his name. I never really know how to say it, but he's a fantastic hairdresser. He does lots of videos. Mara, I don't know. Someone tell me in the comment section how you say that, and I'll pin it at the top. First one in, and I'll pin it at the top. But a beautiful end result. Lots of very dark hair into a very beautiful lived-in blonde result. I always really, really love the work that these guys produce. Lots of effort, but a great result. Lots of technical hairdressing skill from these guys. I mean, they really are fantastic hairdressers, and I know that they're expanded, and that is no surprise. Lots of extensions going on there, but also a beautiful colour job too. Really done a wonderful job of melting out that root, diffusing it down into those beautiful hair extensions that someone's popped in there. And obviously she looks $1 million, and she's got to be thrilled with that end result considering where they started from. And it looks wonderful straight, as you can see there. They've got a very specific style, these guys, haven't they? They've got a very definite style to their videos. Very, very nice finish when it looks straight there, that previous one. You need a real diffusion at the root area. Very hard to achieve. All done with toners, by the way. Oh, nice colour. Love that. We saw it's quite warm in the beginning, quite yellowy. They've obviously gone in with some highlights. They've done a colour in between those highlights to cool down that base colour. That's where that kind of more ashy colours come from in here. So they've done some highlights in the hair, maybe some teasy lights to get some more of this blondness through the ends. Then they've gone back through and then they've toned down that mid colour that was kind of yellowish, and then they've obviously gone in with a toner over the top. Beautiful end result. I've got a video all about that on the channel, how to do that kind of colour and get that kind of lived in blonde effect, especially if you've got grown out highlights or scalp bleaches. Okay, lots of blonde. Are they extensions of that blonde? I don't know, to be honest, but very, very, very blonde underneath. Quite short pieces in the fringe area there. Yes, no, they're not extensions. They're just panels of colour. Darker root area, very, very light, warm, orangey tint in the hair. You can see there. Using the underside of that section there, did you see that, to make sure that they get even and thick saturation. Using this base colour now to diffuse any lines or any demarcation in the hair that it may have had, and a really beautiful end result. I mean, to start with, that was very, very kind of complicated in terms of application. Those big chunks of blonde in there that looked very over processed, but they've managed to work around those, obviously, and put in that root shadow. Always using root shadows, these guys, or root stretches or root melts or whatever you want to call it. Another one from these guys. Again, I really do admire the work they produce. They are very talented hairdressers, and they really do. This is a very complicated colour job. Very dark there at the root area, very, very orange tint in there. Lots of very, very over-processed hair. So obviously working very carefully not to keep overlapping that hair. Just weaving little bits out there, did you see? Just to make sure that they get the absolute best out of this end result. And that is a killer result considering the amount of stripy, patchy pieces within the hair. Very talented hairdresser indeed. And excuse the dog barking in the background. My neighbour has a very yappy dog. Let me just close the window. Okay, they're all very similar, these, aren't they? And one of the things I will say is with these particular colours that they do, where they rely a lot on root stretches and they're working on very dark bases, is that you are going to get a warm fade. Okay, now not every one of these clients that we see are going to be a brand new client they're doing a hair transformation on, right? Some of them are going to be their existing clients. And when you put a toner or a permanent color, especially on the root area, and then you feed that down, there's a good chance it will go warm, especially if they're living in a warm climate. I believe the main salon for these guys is in Beirut. And then they've got one in Dubai. So, you know, and their clients have clearly got some money, right, behind them. So they're probably going to spend quite a lot of time in the sun, right? And so you are going to get that UV damage to the hair, and it's going to expose the warmth. So there will be a lot of like maintenance in terms of warmth control. So as we'll see here again, quite a more of a money piece technique going on this time. You know, heavy money piece, but money piece nevertheless. Less kind of a slice around the face. A beautiful end result. Obviously added some extensions in there to create this look, and this is a thing that a lot of these guys do, and we don't necessarily get to talk about it too much as hairdressers, but there's lots of extensions used in a lot of well, not a lot of these particular videos with these particular guys, but they do add extensions in, and it's not heavily talked about. Some of this will be extension work. She clearly didn't have this much hair when she walked in the door, right? And so sometimes we're brought pictures, and it's very seamless, but we're brought pictures where we cannot see those extensions, and we're expected to make other people's hair look like that, and it's maybe not as long, etc. So it's very difficult for sometimes for people to replicate images You've got to be dead honest with your clients. You've got to be really, really straight up about what's achievable. Wow, that is yellow. That is one of the most yellow outcomes I've ever seen. Obviously a very, very dark beginning, as we just saw there. And it didn't show you the journey of this color, but looking at the end result here, beautiful, amazing copper shade. I'll go back to the lift in a second, but it was very, very dark. Let's just skip back to, let's just skip back to this point where we can just about see the root area here. Now they've obviously gone in and then done the root area, and this yellow I think is some kind of pre-filled toner, and it's quite an amazing color. It's like yellow orange, right? So it's orange on the yellow end of the spectrum. Pretty, yeah, love it like that. But they've probably done that as a pre-fill to put the orange on top, so they didn't get a wishy-washy kind of result with the orange. And sometimes I do similar stuff to this. I've done it in videos before where we do this kind of, but in reverse, where I will lighten someone's hair, put a copper on, and then I'll put a direct dye over the top of the whole thing to kind of give it some more pop. Very, very, very yellowy orange, though. I actually quite like it. It's a statement color. But then we see they've obviously applied another color to it, a more coppery color, and the end result is amazing. I mean, that's very overcolored as we saw there, but that is beautiful. I love that end result with those red lipstick, and yeah, fantastic. Really like the length of that as well, that clean length, and the sweeping fringe, really beautiful on her. Suits her perfectly. Wow, that is a lot of hair. This is going to be a big job, eh? No need for extensions here because it's already like Rapunzel's hair. Got some old colour towards the ends there, some tint you can see in the hair, and there's a very dark area at the root. So working with obviously a multitude of different things going on. Going very, very high with the bleach, so obviously going to be quite blonde as you can see. Money piece around the front. Again, going in with that root tap. Root taps are great, root shadows are great. You've just, like I said previously, got to be mindful of the maintenance of root taps and root shadows. Going forward, you may need to, it could come up warmer, could fade warmer than you'd want it to be. Again, done that thing where they tone it ash and then they put yellow over it. Now that's to create that kind of, so it's not too ashy, that kind of cleaner look. So sometimes I would put a little bit of gold in my ash toner to neutralize the warmth, but give me that kind of more creamy. This is like cream blonde. Can you see the kind of, yes, it's ashy, but it's not like really ashen. And really ashen can look dull and not very vibrant. And that's something that I come across a lot from a lot of hairdressers that I've taught in the past and worked with. Their ashes are just flat and just lifeless, and it's because they're lacking in gold. They've lifted the hair really warm potentially, they've gone in with a lot of ash, and that ash has sat over the hair and just made it look like it's just flat and hasn't got that pizzazz. And when you're doing ashes, quite often a little couple of mils of a gold shade on the same level, let's say it's a 9 or a 10, right, a little dash of gold or even an amber shade can actually enhance the overall effect. It's not going to be as ashy, of course, but you're only putting a couple of mils into maybe a 60 mil formula, right, overall, just to kind of make sure that you don't get that sludgy look. And when I say that sludgy look, what I'm saying is that with that ash color, what you've got to remember is there's blue in that color to maintain that ash, but you're putting it onto yellow. And when you put it onto yellow, you can quite often create very muddy, where the blue and the yellow mix, it's kind of greenish. When you put a little bit of gold in there, you don't get that so much, right? So it's a really, really good way of kind of offsetting what you can create with these particular looks. You do have to be very mindful that, what will happen as well is that the client might go away and use purple shampoos and stuff like that to maintain it. But then obviously that becomes a problem in the future as well, where it's become sort of over ashen. Okay, so if we're in this kind of territory, maybe recommending like a conditioner that will add some tone into the hair in the future could be a whole lot better for a long-term outcome. Anyway, that's been enough for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and you've taken some tips and tricks away. And if you have, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and recommend to your friends. And if you have any recommendations for future episodes of The Life of Hair, please do leave it down in the comment section. I would love to hear what you'd like to see or know about. I am enjoying making these types of tutorials, but I do want to make other types of content. I want to know exactly what you want me to help you with, so please do let me know down in the comments. I'll see you again very soon for another episode of Life of Hair.